Imagine pushing a boulder up a hill to get it from one valley to another. Every time you stop pushing, it rolls back down to where you started. But at last, you get to the top, you pause, and then, with a little push, you get it onto the downward slope on the other side. It starts to roll, it picks up speed, you can't stop now, and soon it reaches the bottom of the next valley. This is a simple way to understand what is called a tipping point. We see this in our lives all the time. Something builds up from the fringes, a song, a movement, a trend, a new way of doing things, and suddenly it's everywhere. As we look ahead to the effects of climate change, there are many possible tipping points of concern, such as the point beyond which the Greenland ice sheet may be irretrievably lost. But tipping points aren't all bad. If you want to get a boulder into the next valley, the tipping point is your friend. There are ways we can use this idea to help us make the big changes we need today. For the purpose of this video, let's think about the policies needed to reduce emissions, switching from an economy run on fossil fuels to one that produces zero carbon. New solutions to anything usually start at a disadvantage compared to established ways of doing things. They're often more costly, don't perform as well, and aren't yet accepted by society. So as we transition to a low-carbon economy, many actions are needed to bring zero-emission technologies close to being able to compete with fossil-fueled ones. Research and development, subsidies for deployment, and investments in supporting infrastructure are all actions that will gradually push the boulder up the side of the hill. Once a new idea or technology is at the top of the hill, a small push has a large effect. Policy measures that tip the scales to make clean technologies cheaper or more attractive than fossil fuels can trigger large-scale changes in behaviour. Investors pile into the new technology, consumers buy it in larger numbers. As production increases, it improves and gets cheaper, increasingly outcompeting the old way of doing things and removing the need for further support. The transition then moves forward with its own self-accelerating momentum. We've seen this already in the countries that are making the fastest low-carbon transitions in electricity generation and road transport. Traditionally, policymakers have often looked for the right price to put on carbon emissions, a price that reflects the damage that climate change could do to society. But estimates of this value range from $10 to $10,000, or even infinity, and so give little guidance to policy. Sometimes we waste effort by moving the boulder around in the valley or pushing it up a little way, only to watch it roll back down. How can tipping points be used? Governments can focus on potential tipping points as a way to set the level of taxes and subsidies or the stringency of regulations. It doesn't actually matter whether the price of carbon is high or low. What matters is whether a carbon price, a subsidy, or a regulation is enough to make clean technologies more competitive or attractive than fossil fuels within a particular market. NGOs can advocate for the actions that will be most helpful first in moving the boulder up the hill, and then for those that will push it over the top. Change beyond a tipping point is often much faster than expected. So focusing on near-term actions can be more rewarding than focusing on long-term targets at the outset. Businesses should keep a close eye on potential tipping points in their sector and aim to be ahead of the game. Once a tipping point is passed, those who are behind will find it difficult to catch up. As one boulder rolls down the hill, it can set others in motion. For example, the adoption of electric vehicles will set off a cascade of change in batteries, charging infrastructure, and manufacturing supply chains, spreading change to other sectors of the economy, each with their own tipping points. Like a small boulder that triggers an avalanche, carrying many other rocks down a mountain, we can design small interventions that start off a cascade of change. If you want to jump in, visit futurestewards.com, where you can learn more and get started.